Almost ready?
Yeah, I'm recording.
No, stop. Turn it off. Hey, everybody. All right, so now we've looked at some different ways on the Google site on how we can build a tree. You saw a video of the inside and outside of my tree house. Now we need to pick some trees, and that's your next assignment. So you can see I have some pine trees behind me. Pine trees are called softwood. You don't want to build a tree house in a tree that is softwood. You want hardwood. So things that we have around New Hampshire, like maple or oak, cedar, those are good trees. So what we have to do is decide if this is a sturdy enough tree. So a tree, like this pine tree behind me, which I won't use, but I'm going to show you how to measure the diameter. So the diameter is from one side to the other, okay? Here's mom or dad's tape measure. Should we be wrapping this around the tree? No, we're not going to wrap it around the tree. And it's kind of hard to measure the diameter. I could kind of guess. So this tree is it's about 1.5 feet from one side to the other. But I'm going to show you how to do that using a string. So actually, you don't have to use a string. It could be a rope, extension cord, anything you can find at the house. You're going to wrap that around the tree. You might need help. Oh, there we go. I got it. So there, I'm going to hold my thumb so I know where that is. Now I have to measure the length of this, and that'll be the circumference, or the distance around the tree. Watch, I'm going to use this tape measure to do that. Oh boy, making a mess. So I'm going to measure that, and let's see, it comes out to about 4.5 feet, maybe 5 feet it looks like. So if I know the circumference is 5 feet, how do we find the diameter? I'm going to have to pull up my calculator. So it's 5 feet around the tree. We're going to divide that by pi, or 3.14. And my answer equals about 1.6. So that tree from one side to the other is about 1.5 feet. If you're going to build in a tree, it should be at least 1 foot wide in diameter. It tells you it's a strong tree. All right, so your assignment is to find 1, 2, 3, or even 4 trees in your yard that you think would be a great spot for a tree house. So I'm on the side of my house, which maybe isn't where I want to build it, but do I have trees I could work with? So we just checked the diameter of this tree, which is over 1 foot. You could build a tree house in one tree, but this pine is way too tall. I'm not going to put a tree up there. Okay, way up there. Come back down. There, hi, here I am. Thank you. Another thing I could do is I could build between 2 trees. And if you look on the Google site, you can see how that's done. So I have this tree here and this tree here, which are actually, let's see if you can see how much room is between these. So believe it or not, it's about 9 feet between those 2 trees. And if you look on the Google site, there's plans where you can actually run a board along this side of the tree, one on the other, and then you build your tree house in the middle. So I could build a tree house between these 2. So if you find 2 trees at home like this that you'd like to build it between, take a picture and send it to me, and I'll put it on my Google site. Okay? So that's 2 trees. Another option, like my tree house, is built between 3 trees. So if you look here, we have 1, 2, and another tree here. So what you could do is you can run a board between these, those, and that one, and you set the tree house in the middle of those. So my tree house is between 3 trees. That's an option. If I had a 4th tree, could I run another beam? Yeah, we could do that, certainly. So it's another option. Okay, so I'm underneath my tree house. This is actually a pine tree. This is a softwood, so probably not the best idea, but it's definitely at least 1 foot in diameter. This one here, I don't even remember that is, because it's still the early spring. I'd have to, some people know based on bark, some people know based on leaves. I don't remember which one that is, so that's a mystery. And you can see the other big 3rd tree is another hardwood. So if you look, I have boards running on the outside. I initially put a paint line so I knew where I wanted these, but I ended up raising it a lot higher. The other thing I did on my tree house is I reinforced underneath with all these big 4x4s so they can hold a lot of the weight up, okay? All right, so let's take a walk and see if we can find the trees, and you can say, no, or yeah, that's good. All right, let's go. Mm-hmm. All right, so here's another spot in the woods. I have 2 trees here. These I would measure. This one's a little bit smaller than 1 foot. Obviously, what I could do, if you remember, I would wrap something around the tree, and that gives me circumference, right? So that's definitely, oh goodness. So one good rule, if you have at least 3 feet around a tree, if I divide that by pi, which is 3.14, so it's basically 3 divided by 3, that gives me a foot. So this doesn't quite look like it's 3 feet long, so I'm guessing the diameter is less than a foot. This is probably not too strong. But if I build it with this tree and maybe I incorporate that third tree, it's going to support the weight, so it should do a good job. Okay, I'm not going to use this spruce tree. It's too small, and it's also, yeah, definitely not going to be strong enough. Okay, so your job, walk around your yard, walk in the woods if you have it. Take a picture. You can put yourself in it. If you have enough, let's see, if you have enough string or rope, you can even have someone tied around, and you could say, all right, let's see, let's see if this is going to work. So I could build could I build a treehouse between just the two of these? Possibly. I'd have to cut some branches up top. I could run another rope around, and then what I'd have to think about is if I'm going to build a house in the middle of these, is that going to be big enough? So in other words, here's going to be one wall, is going to be 6 feet. So if I lie down, there's not going to be much room in there to build. Okay, so you definitely want some space between your trees. All right, so last time, walk around your yard, walk around the woods, take some pictures. Maybe you find 1 tree or 2 or 3 or 4 and say, this is where I want to build my tree house. And then we can start talking about how we're going to model that in Tinkercad. All right, I'll be waiting for your photos. Thanks.